What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Okay, so NASCAR experienced a hate crime. What I would like to call a hate crime hoax is really what it is with Bubba Wallace. Or should I say Bubba Smollett? Okay, so what happens is it was reported in the news a couple days ago. You guys probably seen the story that a noose was found in a garage hanging in the Talladega. Is it Talladega Nights? I know that's a movie, Talladega Nights Speedway or something or whatever. I'm not sure. I don't really know much about NASCAR, to be honest with you. I'm sure Talladega Nights is just a movie, not the name of the raceway. Okay, so Bubba Wallace is a driver for one of these cars. Him and his crew had a garage, and Noose was found in there. They made the report. It was reported as a hate crime. The whole NASCAR came out to stand with him and to march with him down the speedway. They made a statement that whoever's responsible for this will be kicked out. Now, this is a rational position for NASCAR to take, to say we will not tolerate this type of behavior. That I understand 100%. If this behavior was actually real and really did happen, then I would support that, because there is just no room for that type of behavior in any business. I mean, every business should look to push that, acts of hate out of their company. So that I stand with 100%, except for the fact that this wasn't a hate crime at all. In fact, over a dozen FBI agents were assigned to the case, and within a matter of a day or two, they've learned that noose was already there before Bubba Wallace's team even got that garage. They were assigned that garage. That rope has been there since, the noose has been there since 2019. In fact, it was a loop knot on a rope that is used to pull the garage door open. It was not intentionally put there for any other purpose. The function of it wasn't to be a noose. The function of it was to be used as a pulley so you can open up the garage door. The same garage door which only Bubba Wallace and his crew had access to. There's very tight security there, according to some of the information I read. And video that the FBI picked up and viewed showed no one but Bubba Wallace's teammates going into that garage. No one else. There was no signs of false entry. No one else seen going in there that's not supposed to be there. They're the only ones who had access to that garage. They would assign that garage just like they could have been assigned to any other garage. I don't think in 2019 NASCAR or that stadium or that raceway knew who was going to have that particular garage. I bet you if you go into the other garages, you'll find a very similar thing. Now, this brought national attention, made Bubba Wallace popular. Now, I never heard of him, didn't know who he was. He's the only black, or he's half black, half white, he's biracial. He's the only black or person of color driver that NASCAR has, and now he's very popular. I've seen him on a whole bunch of talk shows. The View had him on, Don Lemon had him on. All your typical progressive talking heads had him on their show to discuss hate crimes and racism and stuff of that nature. It's just funny that he's a Black Lives Matter activist from one degree or another. Many drivers don't want to call this as Black Lives Matter, wear shirt says I can't breathe. And he's the victim of racism. It seems like activists are always the actual victims of whatever they're, being an activist for. It always seems to be a little funny. Typically, normal people don't go through stuff like this. It's always the people who are activists. They're the ones who are angry. They're the ones who are constant victims of whatever it is, racism, sexism, homophobia, some kind of ism or phobia. It's always coming at them. It's always thrown at them. And they happen to be activists at the same time. If you ask me, I think that they're looking for a reason to be outraged. So they see this rope hanging, and obviously being that it looks like a noose, it must be a noose, and it must have been put there because he's black, not for any other reason, not as a mistake. It couldn't be a crew member messing around. It couldn't just be, it couldn't just be an object that was there for whatever reason, and you're taking it completely out of context. That's like me walking into your house and I see an oven and I'm like, well, what do you got the oven for? I'm Jewish. You invited me over here because you have an oven, and you wanted to tell me that you hate Jews. You wanted to stick me in the oven because you're a Nazi. And it's like, no, it's just an oven, dude. Like, there's another function for an oven, not, ovens don't exist just for the soul of you and for me and for my kind. And the same thing with the rope knot. Okay, it looks like a noose. Things that look like a noose, they have other functions. I mean, if you look in my closet, I have extension cords. They're hung. Maybe it looks like a noose, but it's not. It's just the way I wrap up the extension cords and hang them up. I know they'll probably use like implicit bias. I purposely wrap them up to look like a noose because deep down inside, in the back of my subconscious mind, I'm really a racist. This is exactly what they're doing. This kind of reminds me of people who take numbers and they like to add numbers up in some particular way, and that's supposed to have some kind of meaning. They'll say something like, okay, Donald Trump is the 45th president, then 4 plus 5 is 9, and if you turn it over, it's a 6, and if you add 2 more 6s, you have 666. I just proved Donald Trump is Satan. That's what they're doing with this. They just, look at the shape, and it's a rope, and obviously it's a hate crime, and I'm being victimized. No, dude, at all. That's not what it is. No one is victimizing you. In fact, there was no intention behind any of this. You completely blew this all out of proportion. That's one. Or two, this really is a hate crime. Not a hate crime hoax, I should say. He has a garage with millions of dollars worth of equipment in this garage. Only they have access, and there's cameras everywhere, and there's also security there. No one saw anything. This truly is either, a mistake, or this is a hate crime hoax. Bubba Wallace, or Bubba Smollett, I should call him, could decide which one he thinks this is, a mistake or it's a hoax. I mean, I don't care at this point. Expecting an apology was the next thing I was thinking of. Will he come out and say, I'm sorry that I blew this completely out of proportion? Probably not. He's enjoying his 15 seconds of fame. He's not going to apologize for yet putting another bad stain on humans, on Americans, on white people, on anyone for that matter. Another case of racism, another charge of racism being thrown at us. We will never get an apology for this, by the way. The sad part is I can see myself a year from now arguing with someone over race relations, and they say, well, even Nascar is racist. They hung a noose on a black driver's garage. They'll completely forget about the fact, or probably don't even know, or even care to know any of the details involved. They'll forget that the FBI stepped in and did investigation and said this is absolutely not a hate crime at all. There's no evidence for that. They'll ignore that. They'll say that the FBI is just corrupted anyway, and we know the FBI is racist. So again, when you're looking for hate crimes, you're looking for racism, and you're looking for discrimination, and you're an activist and all that, you will always find it all around you. You'll do the numbers game. 4 plus 5 is 9, and you'll start doing the numbers, adding, subtracting the way you want to add and subtract, until it adds up to a noose. And that's exactly what happened in this situation. So, it's almost impossible to wipe the slate clean. It's almost impossible to repair any of the racial tensions between us and just move forward. It'll never happen. You'll always have these agitators that are out there to cause trouble. They're activists. This is what they do. What's funny is, like, if you look even in Hollywood and you look at the people who are like transgender rights activists, who tend to adopt children or something, for some reason they always end up with like a transgender child. How many parents of transgender children are activists themselves and go to these the Pride Parade and march before they were parents, or when their kids were very, very, very young, who couldn't possibly younger than the 3 years old that they think is old enough to choose for themselves, infant children, and the mom and dad is out there pushing them in a stroller, all ready for this kid to hit 5 years old. The boy hit 5 years old so they could put a dress on him and then claim that he's just transgender, even though they're pushing him in that direction. This is exactly what it is. I mean, this is exactly what I see. Jesse Smollett, he would show up to anti-Trump rallies. He would speak. He would speak in his own words. I go hard on 45. I'm the gay Tupac. I fought back. This is just so ridiculous. And then he happened to be the victim of a hate crime. Meanwhile, he's an activist and he goes hard on 45, and it's just I see it to be hysterical when the victimhood group are activists. People who are victims are activists, and this could be anyone. This doesn't have to be a black or white issue. These are just people that they feel like they're victims, and they're always victims. They're victims all day long. They walk around as victims. They're always constantly under attack. They happen to be activists, and I'm wondering, were they activists before they were victims, or they were victims after they became an activist, which I believe that to be the case. So it's interesting, or not very interesting, to see how this played out. It already did play out, and we see that this is a whole big, fat, nothing burger. Bubba Smollett, he's probably, this is probably something that came out to garner some attention, to get more name recognition, to maybe get a sponsor or endorsement or something. Maybe he wants to be the new face of pancake syrup or something of that nature. But we'll see. We'll see what the next hate crime hoax will be in the near future. I'm sure there'll be another one. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.